Hey there everybody, welcome. It's new. You know, it's pretty late in the 3.24 league cycle, so I just thought I'd cap things off with a nice review video going over some of the very best brand new endgame farming strategies that arose this league with the major overhauls to the endgame mapping particularly. It's very exciting. We lost a lot of different strats. We lost Crimson Temple, Enraged Strongbox Divination farming. Some of you might miss it, but that does create for a more interesting game at the end of the day. We had a lot of things to figure out. Say what you want about Necropolis League. Maybe it ended really early for you, maybe not, but especially if it did, you definitely might want to pay attention to this video moving forward if you're aspirational for the following leagues. If you think you're going to move into tier 17 maps, this brand new tier of maps, if you're expecting to stay on top of things, see what farms exist, what the best farms are, and these are certainly 6 of the very best farms that currently exist that did not sunset mid-league. I'm not going to be talking about those. I'm going to be talking about farms that do exist and are definitely going to make their way all the way to the end of the league. Will they sunset at the end of the league? Will they move into 3.25? I don't know. I suspect at least one of these strats will get through completely unscathed. And I have already made videos, separate videos on all of these strats except one, I think. So there are a lot of different tools. You can check the description of the video. You can see atlases for all different strats. You can see regexes that were used to roll the maps. I'm using an ice shot character. It's like lightning arrow or tornado shot, so maybe that fits the bill for you, maybe not, so please keep that in mind. Yeah, let's go over each map very briefly in the intro. First up, we're going to have the item level 84 cluster / boss rushing strat on Abomination. This map boss dropped the reality fragment, which is the most valuable uber fragment, and a very, very good farm moving into tier 17s from 16s. After that, I'll be showcasing back to basics barrel and go. Good old fashioned, the lowest end barrel and go. I really didn't showcase this a whole lot on or in YouTube videos, but I definitely ran this one behind the scenes a lot. And I think this was perhaps the most popular and most useful strategy because of how potent the volatile barrels were and how easily accessible this was on a budget. After that, we have slightly elevated back to basics with Bloodlines Barrel and Go. Doesn't necessarily have to have barrels, but the Bloodlines Scarab definitely improves the drops from the monsters. After that, we're definitely cranking up the investment costs with a Curation Barrel and Go. I did 1,000 maps over this, except I only did 100 with the Preservation Scarab. I'm going to be featuring the Preservation Scarab this time, but it's basically the same strat. After that, it's my own personal favorite strategy that arose this league, and one that's probably not going to exist after this league. This is specific to the Meatsacks Allflames, back to basics Meatsacks Scarab farming. Very fun farm though. And then finally, the one I showcased the least in any videos would be the super juiced Curation Divination farm with Shaper Allflames. Before it had Shaper Touch, but that doesn't matter now. Still a very potent farm, trying to slam as many bits of content, as much juice into the map as you possibly can. So it's definitely the sort of the newborn child of what arose from super juicing maps this league, and definitely a potent farm for sure. It takes a while to get through the map, but anyway, we'll be doing all 6 of these maps. Use the timestamps below to fast forward or whatever you want to see, but again, you're going to want to keep this video referenced to see what happens in the 3.25 patch notes, and I suspect at least one of these will get through completely unscathed. And we're going to start with that one strat that I suspect will get through. It's going to be the item level 84 cluster with Abomination as the boss choice on here. So let's go over the atlas very quickly. Not going to spend much time on this, but we do need to talk about it for each one. This was a pretty cool atlas, riding on Nico, the borrowed power of Nico, going off to the right here and swinging back around, focusing on juicing the map up pretty good, getting a lot of Beyond there, getting a lot of love for Delirium, but not Delirium spawn chance. Then I'm going to be forcing that on the Keurig bench. Yeah, just a lot of monsters, Nico, Beyond. And I'm focusing on Delirium rewards. And the reason I'm focusing on Delirium rewards is because when you proc the Delirium reward round, you get free cluster jewels. Now this is a huge deal on a tier 17 because the cluster jewels will be item level 84 plus, which means they hit the final tier of, you know, tier 1 roll capacities, and they become extremely powerful. There's really, really valuable cluster jewels that can drop. 3 in particular that are always worth at least a divine or 2. In many cases, it goes all the way up to 10 divines or more at league start. And I think this is probably the most important farm for, you know, the sort of everyday endgame player, because this is the farm that is really easy to get into. It doesn't even matter if you totally brick the map. If you fail this map miserably, you still get a ton of value out of it. You don't even need to kill the boss. That's all bonus on here. But yeah, this is the Atlas right here. And I go in. Let's see, I'm going to pick Delirium. Now I have the favorited map system currently set up for divination farms, so you don't pay too much attention to that, but you do want to obviously pay attention to it when doing curation farming. But for this farm, it doesn't particularly matter. Your favorited maps could be whatever they are. So we're going to do actually Searing Exarch on this one. I felt like Searing Exarch was a little bit better, but you could do Eater of Worlds. Doesn't matter. Now, I usually try to get rid of this mob. Unless you are destroying corpses, this is a really dangerous monster. But anyway, you know, I just use whatever. I like the Breach Allflames because it'll spawn a lot of monsters. Then they drop some loot. But yeah, pretty easy going there. If this was early in the league, this would be a pretty good lantern. But, you know, we're probably not even going to have the lantern next league. So here we go. Okay, so you see I got 5 Delirium rewards, and already I get Cluster Jewels. Now, my loot filter is kind of tight on here, but I'm still able to get, you know, these are all at least clusters that would sell for something. They would sell for something. I don't know exactly what they sell for. Maybe as little as 10 Chaos, but each one of these would probably sell for at least 10 Chaos, which would be a lot of currency early in the league. I've already gotten, what now, 5 rounds of loot, and each time I get a little bit more. I basically get 1 cluster jewel per round there. I got, what, 7 different rounds? And I'm going to go for, I think it's 7 or 8 rewards. I actually can't remember. But, I mean, this is just so much loot. For the sake of saving time, I'm just going to... Yeah, just going to go forward through fast. You'll notice I have the antagonist mod rolled on this map. So, you know, with a headhunter or whatever, that's extremely potent. If you don't have a headhunter, if you have a inspired learning, it's still really good. But yeah, also kind of Exarch altar farming rewards here at the same time. And we're kind of rushing the boss. And again, if you can kill the boss, great. If you can't, no big deal. Alright, the boss is here, and he's dead. And when you kill the boss, you get an extra round of rewards. So, you know, maybe... Oh, I only got a Blazing Fragment, unfortunately. I think you can only really get 1 more round of rewards. We still get Tainted Currencies as well. It's really great. I'm going to farm until I get 1 more round, and then I'm out of here. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm not trying to get 9 rewards. I don't think that's a thing. But look how many clusters dropped here. Isn't that just crazy? If I had great, like, Divination card, Exarch rewards, maybe I'd keep going. Now, a lot of these aren't really worth anything in particular, but you may not be aware, you can actually sell, or 5 to 1, these clusters, which is really crazy if you wanted. Now, this one probably is worth something, but you can even 5 to 1 these. Well, they all have to be rare, actually. Have 1 more rare one. There we go. All right, just to prove that you can 5 to 1, you get free clusters. So it's just a terrific farm. Item level 84 clusters go for a boatload. Maybe not on day 1, but certainly, you know, moving in up through the first couple of weeks, people are buying these because they can be crafted for the highest potential. And it was especially great this league because the Fracture Orb was super cheap because different Harbinger farms were... well, I mean, they were lucrative, but the result was very cheap fracturing orbs, which are typically used on clusters to do that. All right, next we got another farm. We'll just kind of throw all this stuff in here, I guess, to save time. Now I'm going to be moving back to basics. Now, on the first map, I didn't really care much about the role. Because I did have a Headhunter and or an Inspired Learning, I wanted the Antagonist mod. That's more rares, and rares have increased number of modifiers. That's just to make clearing easier. Now I don't care about that roll. The only roll I care about is barrels. Definitely have to have barrels. You want a high roll of barrels, and preferably a fairly easy map otherwise. Monsters have 100% increased area of effect, and 4 additional projectiles can be really dangerous early in the league. I wouldn't necessarily run this strat early on, but here it is. This is the classic back to basics strat. It does feature closing off all the different league mechanics, so you can't drop the Scarabs from those league mechanics, but early in the league maybe you would want to leave these open if this strat exists. It does feature using some of the points towards the current league mechanics. That's a brand new thing this league. I don't know if that'll be a thing next league. It was focused on Scarabs as kind of a backup, because there's not a whole lot we can do with the Atlas tree in this case. So increased effect modifiers on maps and Scarabs. It's essentially the only thing we're focusing on here. And in the end, we're going to be dropping Scarabs as well as currencies, if I have a currency roll. So I'm doing Hunted Trader because it's cheap. And then I'm doing Mysterious Scarabs, triple. Now, some people like to run Nemesis to get extra modifiers in the rares to make Headhunter gameplay a little easier, or Inspired Learning, or well, actually not Inspired Learning, right? But anyway, these Mysterious Scarabs can transform into volatile barrels, giving you even more volatile barrels. So we'll open up this map, and we'll see where it's at. Okay, got the right Atlas. Can't choose any influence. Again, gonna get rid of this monster here. But then Possessed and Touch Spirits is nice. I wish I would have got this on a Bloodlines map, but oh well. This is a monster that burrows, is also really annoying. So, you know, for now, this league, we can get rid of him that way. Alright, so we got... You can see we got different kinds of barrels. You can't really identify what they are, but we have area contains 118 additional barrels. I don't think I... Well, maybe I did get... Actually, yeah, I think one of them spawned volatile barrels. So I got 3 Scarabs. There's a chance at least one of them will spawn additional volatile barrels. 118 barrels. Probably this is a fairly low back to basics roll. Alright, there's a good Scarab already. However, I got lucky and got an additional barrel roll. You can tell that by the quantity on the map, okay? The quantity on the map goes all the way up to like 400 or 500%. I got a very low number there. So yeah, that confirms it right there. Okay, now it doesn't matter to boss rush here because I'm not getting Eldritch Altars anymore. So I'm basically just trying to clear as fast as I can. And these maps, one of the best things about this map is super fast. I was usually using a tighter loot filter than this, so that's why I've just seen so much junk on the ground. But again, early league, this will still be good. And if they're keeping back to basics and volatile barrels, this will be an amazing farm next league, just automatically. I have a feeling either back to basics and or volatile barrels will get nerfed. I suspect a lot of you would agree, but I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so we do get a boss fragment as well if you can kill the boss, but this boss drops pretty bad fragments. I suppose really early in the league it won't matter. But anyway, there it is. At least the boss only has one phase. Get a couple of fragments. Yeah, and I'm just going to leave the loot there because it doesn't matter to me right now. I picked up some of the more valuable things. But that is just classic barrel and go is what that looks like. Next up we have another sort of barrel and go. Now for a lot of people you don't really need barrels, but it is nice to have it on if possible. This is a Bloodlines Barrel and Go. So every single monster is going to be transformed into rare or better. They seem a little counterintuitive to run Nemesis when you're making every monster rare or better. But we also have Horn Scarab of Glittering. So magic finding is now more on the table than it was for the previous two. You see the first map I ran with the item level 84 cluster farm, magic find doesn't matter for that at all, really. But the last map I just did didn't matter hardly at all either because almost all the loot's coming from barrels, which doesn't look into magic find of the character. This time, however, it does matter because we care about the raw drops from monsters, making them all magic or better. So, pairs up nice with the Glittering Scarab. Whether you're running magic find or not, this is going to give me way over 100% quant throughout the entire map. And the Atlas for this strat is identical. Actually, for these, I think for 4 maps in a row, I'm just using this basic back to basics Atlas here. But it does keep things really simple. There's that. Chance to be upgraded to rare. Okay, cool. I don't see any issue with the monsters here. We'll go ahead and use for additional or more pack size is really nice. So we get some really thick pack size blue breach mobs. It could upgrade to rare, potentially. Okay, looks good. This is strat number 3. Bloodlines Barrel Go. And I got, again, a little bit of a better basics roll here. It's random between 0 and 80% more effect. You can see really some of the loot on here is kind of sketchy. So again, it's nice to have a looser loot filter on here so you can kind of see just how many scarabs drop compared to before. A lot of low-level scarabs dropping here. This map does have quite a few scarabs. 325% more scarabs. I can't remember what the roll was last map. More currency is also going to play a role here. This strat and the last strat before this would be quite potent for dropping a raw mirror at some point if you were to run enough of this map. At least in the default game, it's perhaps the best way to get a raw mirror drop. Probably. Okay, the Fortress map, you might be wondering why I'm running on Fortress, because it automatically spawns with barrels, and it was, well, basically proven to drop more loot on account of that. Now, the density is alright. I think it's, it would seem that Sanctuary map is perhaps the best density, and we will be switching to Sanctuary map for the last 2 farms, because that's going to matter more than barrels. But for the time being, if you're focusing on barrel loot really at all, Fortress is probably better, but I think this strat would probably be pretty even-handed to run this either on Sanctuary or Fortress here. Yeah, actually it might be a little bit of a better idea to run this on Sanctuary, come to think of it. Because I'm not even really mandating barrels be rolling on this strat. I did have barrel rolls on this map, but it's not really that necessary. Like, there's no synergy between the Bloodline Scarab, which is the only really expensive part of the strat. There's no synergy between that Scarab and barrels rolling on the map. So, yeah. Okay. So, again, got a boss fragment. And we're going to move on to the next strat. Let's put this away. We're already done. We're already halfway done, but not really in terms of time. All right, next we have the higher stakes stuff. So this all gets into much higher cost. We're getting a little bit higher cost with the Bloodline Scarab, but this is where it really, really ramps up. Now doing a divination farm. Now, the 5th farming strategy won't be divination farming, but this is Curation Barrel Go. Now, this is the exact strat I did 1,000 maps on, except I had double divination here, which made it cheaper. The Preservation Scarab should be about half to 2/3 of the cost of the Curation Scarab to make things line up really well. And so this is more or less the cheapest sensible way to do a quick and dirty Curation Divination farm. And I definitely think it's a great strategy that exists for people who want to experience more of the jackpot drops and maybe not pay an arm and not pay as much as the groups are paying with like all the Shaper Allflames and the the Curation Scarab every single map. So you're basically just hinging on the cost of the Preservation Scarab wherever that is, and you kind of need to pay attention to the price points of those. There were many points where it made a lot of sense to run the Preservation Scarab instead of a second Divination Scarab, and there were times when it totally didn't make sense. It definitely didn't make any sense right after a streamer made a video on it. Yeah, just saying. Alright, now it's just becoming a little bit ridiculous here. I am going to move to the strictest loot filter here now. This is, yeah, a much more sensible loot filter, focusing just on some of the more valuable divination card drops. A lot of fortunate cards. And here it really does matter what the favorited map system is. Now, if you're wondering what my favorited maps are, it's just a combination of some of the best maps to get the highest value cards, as well as some maps in there that add the least amount of new cards to the pool. So there's a weighting pool that's divided evenly amongst all the maps and all the cards that drop in all the maps. So you want to have the highest number of valuable cards and the lowest number of low value cards as possible. That's how you have to make sense of that. And indeed, it does work that way. Like it was proven with a lot of different people testing. That the weight pool is a real thing. You don't just want to put, any and all possible divination cards that you might pick up on there. You want to actually be kind of smart about it. And it matters greatly because the price of the Curation Scarab is dependent on, whatever the best setup is. So with the Preservation Scarab, I only get about a little more than half of the cards I would get. I guess I think I get like 2/3 of the cards I would get without it with the second Divination Scarab. So that's, you might be wondering why there's less loot or whatever, but that's why. It's actually at a very high roll, very very high roll in the back to basics. I just realized 512% quant. Again, not going for the antagonist mod, just wanted that good barrel roll. 132 barrels. Anytime in the 130s, I know that's a very, very close to max roll there. And yeah, not the greatest pathing on my part. You don't want to have to do too much rerouting back, but yeah, you do better than I did there. This is going to leave me with like no buffs going into the boss room, which is going to be a problem, and I may not kill this boss. We'll see. Minus 29 max res. You can wear a lore weave to get around that, but I'm going to skip out on it. Okay, put the portal down in case, and yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this boss. We'll see if I can do it. No, I thought he was bugged for a second. Oh yeah, okay. A great enabler there. This chest gives me 50% more elemental damage, tied in with Soul Ascension and Ravenous Passion. Just really ramp up the damage. I forgot how strong these gloves were for a while there. Okay. That was map number 4. So now we're going to move on to, not necessarily higher stakes, but I'm going to be moving backwards out of divination farming and going into my favorite farm of the whole league, Meatsacks, and it was improved upon with these scarabs here. Oh yeah, that's right, I guess I saved these, huh? Ha! Saved! Okay, so Adversaries Scarabs adds even more Meatsacks to the map. We're going to do Glittering again because it's just not much of a sensible difference. You could do 100 Traders, but they cannot spawn as Meatsacks. We're going to do Scarab of Nemesis, and the goal of this farm is to drop as many Scarabs as possible. Getting the Meatsacks to have as high amount of modifiers on the map as possible. You see I have the Antagonist mod on these with 2 additional rare modifiers. If I get a high basics roll, these Meatsacks will have an excess of 10 rare modifiers on them at once. And once again, just like all the other farms are doing for the 4th time in a row, this Atlas here, definitely going to focus. This is all in Scarab farm. This really does follow the meme. Now this strat probably will not exist next league because we probably won't be able to force Meatsacks onto a map. But you're going to see just how many Scarabs drop. You saw how tight the loot filter is now. And we are now doing Sanctuary League, by the way. Or Sanctuary map, I mean to say. I do not know if less pack size does anything here. I don't think it does, or more pack size. Probably not. But anyway, yeah, you're looking for possessed and touched rares, monsters, and I guess quant. Strongest monster gives a whole bunch of extra quant. It would be amazing for this. But anyway, yeah, didn't get lucky. Can no longer get these monsters possessed or tormented by natural means. So, yeah, we'll just go with that. And I lament the fact that... Okay, I didn't get a very good spawn here, I guess. I lament the fact that this farm got priced out by virtue of GGG nerfing the drop rate of the Meatsacks Allflame mid-league. Not happy about that. Not happy about all kinds of mid-league nerfs, obviously. Okay, there we go. Well, I was wondering if I was going to make it. I did roll this map to be pretty easy. Want to keep up Progenesis, obviously, if possible. But yeah, I'm just going to pick up the really valuable ones. And then I'll keep moving forward. Usually, I would just like clear the map and not even loot. Okay, I can't kill that guy. Oh, I'm petrified, actually. That's unfortunate. Wasn't leeching from him. It's creating problems. Very decent chance of getting a Curation Scarab in this map. I believe this strat right here. And again, I'm running Glittering strat, so as long as I keep the kills moving on forward pretty nicely, there's like a 50% chance of dropping a Curation Scarab per map here. Finally killed that guy. And this is a very hard strat. This is... I think this was the most demanding strat in terms of like player power to do. It was a little bit unfortunate. I got obsessed with this strat back when I had only like 300 or 400 divines invested into a bow build, which is not tailored very well for this strat. However, now, you know, I have like multiple mirror tier character, totally handle it. But, you know, the reduction to crit damage taken, the regen in there, the cannot be leeched, all that stuff is really nasty for my character. And just have to do an obscene amount of damage to kind of override whatever issues there are there. And I have to roll the maps so that they're not, you know, too ugly. I cannot give these Meatsack mobs an inch. Can't give them extra effective health modifiers. No way. Makes it terrible. Probably not the smartest idea to run a crit damage gem when doing these monsters, but I don't know, maybe it is because you can at least ramp up faster on the mobs that do take extra crit damage. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's the third Bloodline Scarab. Bloodline Scarab is twice as common as Curation, I believe. So I mean, there you go. I mean that's definitely like dropping a Curation Scarab in the map. But look how many rare mobs there are. The adversaries... Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, the more currency with the alteration thing. Definitely not going to pick those up in this map. Oh, thought I had it. This is such a simple but challenging farm. You're really just chasing those jackpot Scarab drops. I'm really hoping, you know, definitely a lot of hopium here that somehow this strat survives the league. It was so cool to do this, just Scarab farming. I know a lot of people meme on Scarab farming. I quite liked it though. I liked it. I think I'll finish the map first, and then I'll do the boss, and then I won't have to really care if I kill the boss or not. Weird one. Well, that's about all of them. And you saw me get through that pretty easy. Trust me, that is not this is not an easy strat. You've got to have one hell of a character to do what I just did with relative ease. I did almost die, actually, early on. And I was about to say, this is actually the most dangerous thing right here. Alright, so, yeah, I will just leave it there. Honestly, it probably won't kill that boss half the time. Crazy boss. Anyway, that's it for the Meatsacks farm. Definitely going to miss that one. Next up, we have the final farm, which is one that I did not feature very much in terms of like making videos. So I'm happy to bring this one to you now. Oh. This is going to be the Shaper Allflames, and was Shaper Touch until they decided to nerf it. Still an excellent farm. This has barrels rolled on it. That's a complete accident. Doesn't matter. It's nice if you can get Scarab and currency rolls on here because there are tons of rares that you will drop some Scarab. These Shaper Allflames are special because they spawn way more magic and rare monsters than anything else. We're converting the native monsters to the map to that, and we're going to use a different tree here. It's going to go for the super juice strat here, and I got to explain this tree a little bit here. Right now, there's certain mechanics that respawn native monsters in the map, which is extremely potent synergy with the Shaper Allflame. Those would include things like Ambush, Ritual, and Shrines, which I don't have. I think many people ran a Shrine variant of this. I decided to do Alva. I mean, I think if you drop Shrines, you can fit Alva in here, which I feel like is... it depends on how many Allflames you're running, but might be better, might not be. I don't know. Anyway... Beyond is playing a role here. Delirium. I mean, this is just going to be juice to the hilt. We got Eater of Worlds going to be hoping for double divination drops, quant and rarity, and we can maybe bring this map. Oh, I'm glad I almost forgot to do this. We can almost bring this map up to the same caliber that a high roll back to basics would have. I mean, you probably can't hit like 500% quant on the map, but you know we can hit something pretty high, over 300. For sure. And notice no preservation Scarab this time. Nuh-uh. We'll drop this map here, drops more divination cards per map than any other strat in the game, as far as I'm aware. And this is a very popular strat with duo or groups. So I'm going to be running Ambush because it seems to get the most value out of spawning the extra monsters. Eater of Worlds, double divination curation completion, and at least 4. Well, I'd say you cover at least all of the high and normal density. Now, I got really unlucky with this. I didn't get hardly anything going for me here. Let me make sure I don't kill myself with converted monsters. Okay, yeah, I just had to make sure there. That would have been catastrophic if I had done that. All right, so terrible Lantern, less packs. I mean, really, it's just actually negative Lantern compared to the default. But fairly easy as far as, like, you know, downside. So, here it is. This is the juiciest, highest end farm, and I really didn't do this one much. And as far as I can guess, this farm's going to survive to the next league, aside from the Shaper Allflames part, which will definitely result in taking a hit. Now, for this farm, you don't want to unlock the altars until you've killed the boss. This is a boss rushing strat. Now, to rush this boss properly, you're going to need some Headhunter buffs. So what I do is I go ahead and kind of full clear, get the first Shaper Allflame here. Look how many Headhunter buffs I'm already getting. I mean, the Headhunter buff count is just going to be out of this world. And I may off myself with the Cirrus patches, which is annoying, but try not to. Okay, that's probably enough. Kind of gotta go here best I can. Kind of hoping I don't unlock any altars prematurely. I can't really tell where I'm going. I hate this map so much. It's so confusing sometimes. And now I'm forced to hit altars prematurely, praying that I get the good ones. I guess I did. I didn't check if that was a divine orb, but probably not. Oh my god, alright, it's way down here. Way down south. Rude. Okay, another altar I didn't get to. Wait, what? Where's the boss? Fiend card? Really? Alright, so I just had an altar there that is bad because I hadn't killed the boss yet. Had no player side option, which is not good. Alas, we finally made it to the boss room. And again, I mean, it's terrible. This map is just terrible for rushing the boss, but you just kind of have to do it. Because it says it appears to have more density than anything else. Okay, it's kind of hard for the boss to do anything when you got 80 Headhunter buffs, right? Okay, and so now, the cool thing about the Shaper Allflames thing is that it stalls the spawns, which means though the monsters that are native on the map spawn delayed, which means I can like go through and unlock altars from Eldritch packs first, which kind of gives me just the best of all worlds here. And you can see the quant number is getting higher. Just dropped already a couple of rare cards, but they're terrible. And now I get my curation card. Wow. Weird. Okay, should have had that last map. Oh well. Well, I'm definitely in the green if I drop a Curation Scarab, but that's lucky. This strat here does not drop Curation all that often. I had a really bad lag spike there. Everything all good now. Okay, so again, this map's just going to take a lot longer than most. I got to do Alva. I got to do all the rituals. I got to do all the strong boxes. I'm having to go back and rush the boss, come back, clear it again, then come back again to do the Shaper, Allflames, and all the mechanics. But now I've basically unlocked all of the Eldritch Altars, which weren't bad. I got, you know, numerous Quant Rarity Altars. And I'm hoping that these Alvas spawn all rare, or all magic, I mean to say. I think they did for the most part. Oh, got another one. Pretty hard to take all of these altar downsides. In a way, this strat is the hardest one because you have to do tier 17 maps and take a bunch of negative altar downsides, which is kind of impossible to do unless you're doing it in a group or you got mirror tier character. This card again. But on the flip side, you get all kinds of headhunter. You get headhunter buffs like crazy. You know, over 100 headhunter buffs at once potentially. And so that, you know, depending on the way you built your character, can make this strat easier than any of the other strats, or, well, easier than most of the ones you saw today. Those back to basics maps can be pretty barren, and just kind of relying on the innate power of the character and not the borrowed power of the headhunter for those maps. So I kind of liked the dynamic where it was kind of in one way harder and one way easier. But it would seem that the community at large prefers this way of playing. This gets pretty old pretty fast, this kind of stuff. I can't really tell what's going on. I don't know where the monsters are. I'm just watching my health and praying I'm not standing on fire, and yeah, I just really can't see what is going on. But a lot of people just love this. I do like playing this way a lot of the time. I definitely appreciated the back to basics side of things, cranking up the difficulty, making like the most lucrative, most difficult Go mapping experience I've ever seen. It was pretty cool in its own right. Oh, that one's done. Oops. Okay, getting a move on. So many coffins. These coffins are actually worth a little bit too. Right, Eldritch currencies were very expensive this league because when you run back to basics, you don't get them. I'm gonna stop looting. I'm really tired of looting this now. I wouldn't normally loot it until the end of the map. Anyway, but you know, permanent delirium with monsters hanging around Shaper portals can make this map kind of hard to go through once your headhunter buffs have died down and you're trying to loot. It can be really precarious. And I guess there are maybe some rogue exiles and stuff hanging around too. Definitely want to do all the league mechanics. I mean, it doesn't even look like I'm killing hardly any monsters, but I'm sitting here at 88 headhunter buffs, so obviously there are a lot of monsters that are spawning and dying very quickly. Ice Shot's super strong here. I mean, it just freezes everything instantly. Perhaps you might have noticed that the only time my health really goes down is from ground effects. It's all ground effects that is actually the danger here. My health isn't going down from getting hit by monster melee swings or whatever. That was the fourth ritual. It's going to spawn a huge amount of Shaper Allflames. And I don't know if I can even do this. So many ground effects there. Okay, woo! I was able to get in. Not worried about making a nice temple. I don't even check that. I mean, at this level gameplay, it's not about that anyway. Ah, I still got 2 more Alvas, eh? So all the rituals are done. Most of the strong boxes are open. Most of the Shaper Allflames are done. It's really just Alva left, I think. Again, no magic. Monster Alva. Third Brother Stash. Come on. Come on. Here he's there, I think. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh my goodness. Definitely almost died there. The thing I dislike the most about this strat is if you do die, oh, it's so annoying to ramp back up. We're in a permanent delirium. Really don't want to die even once here, and it's hard. It's hard to not die at all on these maps. Doesn't matter what kind of character you have. Okay, this is cleanup crew. Just kind of trying to eye for the portals here. They're still spawning monsters, and this won't be such a big deal after, you know, like next league when we lose the Shaper Allflames, assuming we do. This whole thing won't be an ordeal at all. Comes so close to dying so many times. This map, it's ridiculous. Wow, value. Amazing. Alright guys, that is going to conclude this map. Now, you know, I'll still come in and loot this stuff. I did make currency there. I got a Brother's Gift. I got a Curation Scarab. I mean, that puts me practically in the green right there. Oh, well, maybe not. You know, I do have to pay for the Shaper Allflame. The Meatsack Allflames are... they've moved back down, I guess, to around 2 div apiece. Shaper Allflames, similar picture there. But guys, this is going to conclude the video. This was, in my opinion, 6 of the very best farming strats that exist. So you can keep on doing these strategies, the highest end of the mapping experience right now. And I personally think you can expect at least one of these, especially the item level 84 cluster boss rushing strat. I have no reason to believe that's not going to be in the game. Even if they nerf back to basics, volatile barrels, remove all flames and everything that has anything to do with the league mechanic, that strat will still exist. And if they remove more Scarab and currency, more pack size roll, that strat will still exist. The same cannot be said for any of the other strategies. However, there's something something about it that's kind of you know, specific to this league, or specific to sudden buffs to the maps with the more Scarabs and currency and stuff like that. I want to hear what you guys think about these strategies, if there's any one that stands out in your head. I've had people come to me say they made multiple mirrors doing, you know, just picking one of these strats and just doing it for like weeks on end. 10, 20 mirrors made. So they can be very, very lucrative. They can be kind of dangerously jackpot oriented too, as you were able to see in 1,000 maps that I did. I don't think my turnout was very good here for these particular maps. I didn't make a whole lot of currency, if hardly any, just for each of these maps. But, you know, that doesn't really represent the full picture. That's why I do 100 maps each time. But this is just a snapshot, just a review. And that's going to be it for the video. So let me know what you think. And let me know how excited you are for the endgame mapping in 3.25. What do you think it's going to be like? So let us know in the comments. That's it from me. See you in the next video.